What's going on, guys? This is Simon. How's everybody doing? Haven't done a video for a while, but here I am. In my last video, I talked about why people have such a polarized views of China. Today, let's keep talking about this topic, and this time let's be more specific. I want to talk about whether China is the freest country in the world, because I have some foreign friends who told me that they feel very free when they live in China. And also from time to time, I saw Westerners on social media, they talking about why they think China is even freer than the West. So whether China is the freest country in the world, I think that's a very interesting topic. So as an every Chinese guy who have spent my entire life in China, let me tell you what I think. Now I've summarized several points about why foreigners feel free when they live in China. The list is definitely not exhaustive. There are many other reasons, but I think those factors will be agreed by most of the foreigners living in China.
Number 1, feeling free to go anywhere at any time without worrying about safety.
Most foreigners feel free when they are traveling in China. I also feel the same way because in China, people are not allowed to own guns here. Surveillance cameras and securities are almost everywhere, so you barely see any burglar-looking people on the street, because before you see them, police probably already have spotted them and they have sent them away. So generally speaking, even in the middle of the night, you are free to go anywhere you want without worrying about your safety. Number 2, freedom of going anywhere you want without owning a car. I know in most cities and towns in North America, if you don't own a car, it is quite inconvenient for you to go places. But in China here, the public transportation is pretty well developed with high-speed railway system, subway system, public buses. So most big cities have those, and even you are going to some place that is not accessible to public transportation, you can still take a taxi. The taxi price here is still way cheaper than the taxi price in North America. So when foreigners live here, they feel free to go anywhere they want because public transportation is so accessible and it is also affordable to them. So virtually they can go anywhere they want by taking the public transportation and taxi, but except Xinjiang and Tibet, because they will need a permit to go to those two places. Number 3, freedom of enjoying service by paying a very low charge. Now, paying other people to do a certain job is always quite expensive in the West. Whether it is a haircut, or delivering a certain item, or a car wash, or cooking a meal, they're just quite pricey. But in China, they can ask someone to deliver their food in the middle of the night for only $1, getting a haircut for maybe $3, and having a decent meal for maybe $20 without even worrying about tipping. So in China, they feel free to get all kinds of services because those services are just so affordable. Number 4, freedom of talking anything in private. In the West, because of political correctness, sometimes they will have to be careful about what they say. But in China, there's no Western style political correctness. People make jokes about race, gender all the time. So in private, they can talk about whatever they want and no one will get offended. But actually, China is starting to have their own version of political correctness, so it's not entirely true. Actually, I did a video way back, maybe a couple months ago. You can feel free to check that out, but let's move on over here. Number 5, freedom of being able to use a VPN. I would say most foreigners can still be able to access their Western social media and other internet services by using a VPN. So they can still post photos on Instagram, keep in touch with their old pals on Facebook. To them, nothing really changed actually. They really don't sense their freedom is getting disrupted after they move to China if they are able to using a VPN. Okay, let's cut the crap. And here comes the billion-dollar question. Does that mean China is really that free? Does that mean the China that those foreigners are experiencing is the real China that we average Chinese people are living in? I can tell you right away, absolutely not. And let me just try to scratch the surface for you guys. First of all, let me be clear. I agree with most of the points, like freedom of going out during the night without worrying about safety, and freedom of traveling without owning a car. But I think freedom is not only limited to these factors, right? And for some points, if you look at it from a different perspective, it doesn't look so free anymore. For instance, we are all feeling free to spend a very small amount of money to get things done in China. But it also means the people who did the job for us get very little pay in return, right? And with the skyrocketing real estate price, waiters, delivery guys, and all other workers have to work 24/7 to afford their living here. And even by working that hard, their entire savings may not be able to buy a tiny apartment here. Just take Shanghai as an example. As I have mentioned in my previous video, a mediocre apartment costs 50 years average salaries in Shanghai. So for every Chinese who want to buy an apartment here, if they don't have any support from their family, they probably don't have much free time and money to take a vacation here, right? Someone may be like, why don't you buy an apartment in a second or third tier city? Well, although those apartments are so cheap, I just don't think they can maintain their value in the long run. Why? Because developers have built too many apartments in those cities. I'm not sure who is going to fill those apartments in the future. Anyway, back to the main topic. I think one of the biggest reasons why there is a huge difference in perceiving different levels of freedom is that even they're living in the same country, but they're living in very different lifestyle. People from the West who are still using their Western social media, working for a Western company, will sense a different level of freedom from a local Chinese who is working for a local company and who is only able to access the internet in China, right? Take my own experience as an example. I don't even remember how many times my posts and reposts got deleted from my WeChat and Weibo because some people think that the information is too sensitive. And sometimes when I try to send a message to my family group on WeChat, I thought I have sent it out, but no one responds. Then I reached a single member from the group. She told me they don't even receive that message at the first place. So apparently the AI in WeChat has already filtered the message for you guys. Now, some of you guys may be like, you must be lying, you're not telling the truth. Then I highly recommend you to test it by yourself, but not by using your own WeChat number, but your Chinese friend's WeChat account. And if you think it's too much of a hassle to do it, then just go to any Chinese video platform. See if you can find any single video that contains a tiny bit of criticism towards our government or our great leader. If you can find one, then maybe you are able to prove that I am wrong. So I know some of the foreigners living in China, they don't speak Chinese, so they barely use any Chinese social media or go onto a Chinese website. They have no idea how the internet and the media really works in China, so they may have the idea that the government really doesn't care about what they say because they themselves living in a relatively free life. But I want to tell them right away that's not true. The government do care, and they care about it very much. If you have ever created content in a form of movie, TV show, magazine, publication, even a video on the internet in China, then you probably know what I'm trying to talk about. Now, if you are running a business in China, you also need to watch out both you and your employees' online activities and what they have said in real life, because your company may completely lose its business because someone in the company has posted something inappropriate on the internet. Censorship and self-censorship happen all the time in China. A couple of years ago, China modified its constitution. After I saw the change, I have a different view, so I wrote something about it and put it on my WeChat moment. Then my boss saw it. Although he agreed with my point of view, he still asked me to take it down. What did I do? I took it down because my boss is a very nice guy and I don't want to cause any trouble to him. Okay guys, I'm gonna stop this video right here because like I've mentioned before, censorship and self-censorship happen all the time in China, and even on YouTube I can talk whatever I want, but I just couldn't resist to make this video because when I saw people on YouTube talking about how free China is, I want them to realize that at the same time we have a lot of great men and women who have sacrificed their freedom, their safety in order to stay truthful for themselves and for the great nation. Although they might not be known by the public, but eventually I think they are the true hero of the country. Okay guys, I think that's it for today's video. If you like my video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you want more content about China for an ordinary Chinese guy, you should subscribe to my channel. And once again, thank you so much for all the love and support. Now we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.